You guys, welcome to our class today with Silhouette and Michaels. I am so happy to be here. We are going to be making 4th of July t-shirts. You can see I got one automatic in here. It's my quietest friend. And then made one for myself. And I am Amy Robinson. I should probably tell you who I am. I am one of the designers in the Silhouette Design Store. So you guys can find all of my cut files there. I am also on Instagram at Amy Robinson Design and amyrobinson.com. So I love to craft, have always loved to craft. And in my family, we have a tradition of making 4th of July t-shirts. And we do it with my sisters and all their kids. And it's always a real treat. And sometimes you never know what you're going to get because we let the kids just go wild with theirs. So today I want to show you how to use Silhouette stencil material to make some t-shirts. And then we're also going to be using the heat transfer. So let's jump into it. We are going to be right in Silhouette Studio. So let me go ahead and share that screen with you. If I can get there. You guys, you're going to be learning right along with me right now. I know, like I should know how to do all this by now, right? Okay. So I have opened up Silhouette Design and the Silhouette Studio. And the design we are going to be using today is actually the free cut file of the week. So we're going to go right up here into this menu. Along these blue tabs, we're going to click on Store. That will take us to the Silhouette Design Store. And in the Silhouette Design Store, there are like thousands and thousands and thousands of designs. Like anything you can think of, I'm sure is in here. Along the top, you can search by new designs, different bundles, so categories that are bundled together. You can select under artist. So if you're saying, I listened to that class from that Amy girl, where was that design? You can go right here to Amy Robinson and click on it, and then you will see all of my designs. But luckily today, so this is the one we're going to be using, but also it's right on the home screen and you can select it there as well. And then you will just add it to your cart and then check out. I have already done that though, so I'm not going to, but add it to your cart, should be free. And then once you have checked out, we're going to come back in Silhouette Studio and I'm going to show you how to make sure that it is in your design store, in your library. So we're going to go over to this tab now that says library. My designs are going to look a little different than yours because these are working designs. I create the designs, so I've got them tested and they're not formatted all pretty for my pictures. But let me see if I can find another one. When you download it from the store, you'll have a beautiful image. It'll look something like this, okay, where you'll see it really beautifully and not a mess like I just had. So after you have downloaded your file, you want to come down here to the bottom left side panel. You'll see this button that says sync, and that will sync your files with what you've purchased online into what your computer sees, okay? So after you hit sync, then it should pop up. And you can sort your files by types. You can also search. So you can type in USA and you can get all of your files that you have there. So like I said, mine, going to go up here. And mine is 4th of July in mine because this is from when I was testing and designing. And this is what you will get. So you can see there's a few different designs that you can use for the shirt. I made it so that, remember this is stencil material. And actually I'm going to go over here and change my page size because it is 12-inch material. And I want to show you, give you a better idea when I'm changing colors to show you things, give you a clear backdrop. Okay, I'm also going to turn off my grid. That's just the second little button right here. If you want to show your grids or turn them off. Oh, that's on my ruler. Never mind. Okay, we're going to go back here. And let me show you. Did you see how this pulls apart? So you can actually group this together. Some of these are very basic steps, but I'm going to go over them anyway in case you are new or you might have just forgotten or it's been a long time since you've used the program. So if you want to group two shapes together, that means they won't move independently. They'll move together as a group. You will select both of them. So I'm going to draw a box, hold my mouse down and draw a box around the outside. And then I'm going to go to Object and Group. Okay. And now when I go to move this, it all moves together. So depending on what you are cutting out, if you are doing the stencil, you might want to do it this way. If you just want these designs free by themselves, then you can leave it without this box behind it. Okay, let's go ahead and set this up so that we can cut it and then use it on our shirts. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you, better explain why it has the box around it, because sometimes it's hard to understand when you just see the lines. So let me go through and show you that. Okay, I'm going to ungroup this so I can show you. And the way to ungroup is the same as grouping, except for you're going to hit the button below and hit ungroup. And now that it'll move separately. I am going to change this background to red. Actually, we're going to leave it white. I'm going to change this to red. So now you can see that, like, when we pull off this design, that is what you will see. So if you are using this as a stencil, you would want to keep all these little pieces, which might be a little bit tricky. And so we have another version for you. So I did two different versions, one so that you can use vinyl and another so you can use the stencil. Because depending on how old your kids are or the people are that are crafting and how familiar they are with crafts, you might need to use different materials. Okay, this one I'm going to show you. We're going to draw a box on here. So if you have a design that doesn't have that already drawn, this is how you're going to do it. I just grabbed this box from the left panel, drew a box around it. I'm going to color that red, and actually you can't see it because it's on top. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. If you go to one of these, I gotta remember what panel it's under. I know the keyboard shortcut. Let's go this way. If you click on the red box, you're going to go up to Object, Arrange, and we're going to send this to the back, okay? So you can send it to the back layer right here. And now it's moved to this. Pretend they're pieces of paper. Let's move this piece of paper behind this one. Okay, now you can cut this out and have just a star and you can paint all around it, or you can have it that the star gets cut out of the stencil like this. And then this red part is all your stencil and you can paint inside here. Okay, we're going to set up our size and then we're going to move on to actual crafting. Okay, here we go. I am going to show you, we're going to use this one because I think this one works best with vinyl. So I'm going to show you how you would cut this on vinyl, on heat transfer, excuse me, and doing it without a cutting mat. So we're just going to set it up right here. That looks great. And then I'm going to go up here to my top. Actually, sorry, I've got to set something up. Right here, when you set up the page, see where it says cutting mat? Right now I have it set as a 12 by 12. And you can tell that because it shows the 12 by 12 cutting mat behind it. But if you select none, now it is all white and it's showing you that this is just the material that's going to be fed in through the machine and that you don't need a cutting mat. So you still will need to keep it within these red border, and that will, anything inside this red border will cut. Okay, so let's go up here to send. And then we are going to select our material, which is heat transfer. So we're going to scroll down to heat transfer, and I am going to be using the smooth one. So you can see there's all different kinds. There's reflective, glitter, glow in the dark. We love a good glow in the dark shirt at our house. Flocked it's like a fuzzy texture. That is a really fun one. I always think of like snow for flocked, but I mean, I'm sure there's other ways you could use it. Okay, so we're going to select the smooth, and we need it to cut, right? And I have the auto blade in the machine, so it's going to go to auto blade. Because I selected the smooth heat transfer, you can see right here that it moved the blade depth to where it needs to be. And then when I'm ready, I will just hit send and it will go through. But let me show you how to set this up first. So I'm going to stop screen sharing so you guys can see what I'm doing. Did it work? Am I here? Okay, let's scoot this over. I'm going to pull this out. So here underneath the machine is this little secret compartment. Can I show you another secret compartment? If you're following me, you might know about this one. But on this side of the machine, this stores blades, but my daughter and I, we pass notes to each other because we're the only ones in my family that knows the secret door is here. None of my other kids and my husband don't know. So that's our little secret mailbox, which is so fun when I come down to craft and I find a little note from her. So if you'll see on this bottom, there's a drawer and you can pull this out. This is actually a roll feeder. So I believe it's new in the Cameo 4. The earlier editions you can buy, if you have an earlier version of the Cameo, you can actually buy an accessory, an attachment, and it just like clips on to the little, there's little nubs under here, and it locks in with that. Like you just set your machine on it and it holds in place there. Okay, so we're gonna pull this out. This is going to guide our vinyl through. These right here are going to hold our roll of vinyl. So this is awesome. If you are cutting like something really long, then this holds it from like rolling off your table. Because I have been there and then it like shifts while you're cutting, right? So pull out your drawer, use your drawer to the roll feeder. If you have an older machine, don't worry, you can get a roll feeder that attaches to it. And then you'll be smooth sailing too. Okay, so we've just stuck our roll right in here. And then I'm going to feed the vinyl right through this little slot, and this helps it keep lined up or aligned. I'm also going to show you. So up here, I'm going to move it back to where, if you are cutting on a mat, your roll feeder thing is going to be at the very end. And that's to get, to hold on to that outer edge of your mat. When you are cutting without a mat, then you need to move that in. So you'll just take this little knob right here and I'm going to turn it. And as I turn it, it lifts this bar up so there's not tension on it. And that allows me to move this. So I'm just going to press on this little green button. Gray. I do know my colors. I'm going to press on this gray button and then it will just release it out of that little notch that it was in. And I'm going to slide it to this notch right here. There are little gray arrows. I don't know if you can see because the vinyl feeder might be blocking it. Let's see if I can hold it up to show you. So there's little gray arrows right here. You're going to want to go into this inner one. Okay, because you don't have the mat for it to hold on to. Once I've moved it, then I'm going to lock it back into place. If you have an older machine, it doesn't move with that little button and you're going to twist it if I remember right. And one direction unlocks it so you can move and then you twist it again to lock it into place. Okay, so I've knocked this out, but that's okay. Easily put it back in. We have this where it needs to go and we've got it locked into place. Now I will just feed it right into my machine. I'm going to line it up with this gray line along the edge. So there's a double arrow and a gray line. Just going to line it up right there. I got a little eager and it jumped out. Okay, and I want to make sure it's pressed up against this and this. You also want to start with a straight edge so that you're not feeding in Cricut, because when this grips the vinyl, you want to make sure it's gripping both sides evenly and pulling it through together. So once it's lined up against there, then I'll press the button to load it in, okay? And then you'll just hit cut and it will cut like your machine normally does. Okay, let's move on to, I don't think I need to show you anything else on the screen. We're going to move on to just playing and having fun. So, excuse me for just a minute. Let me show you some of the products I did use and then how I use them, and we'll play around with it. We'll do a little show and tell, you guys. So the first thing I want to show, I brought this and I was like, I know this looks like a mess and it isn't something pretty, but I wanted to show you that you could use these stencils over and over again. So they look a little haggard and worn, but that's okay. We like to know we can get a lot of mileage out of stuff, right? So this star stencil, I also just put it, because it was really sticky and sticking to everything. This is the cover for the cutting mats. So I grabbed an old cutting mat and I just pulled the cover off, and now my stencils stick on that. You could also use your leftover stencil material if you didn't throw it away. Little tip to you to keep that. So the backing of your stencil material will work also. This one, I tried to save space cutting it because if you're spraying, you need to have like, you're in the spray zone, right? Well, I tried to save space and cut my stencil like really close to the edge, which worked great for saving space, but not so great for protecting my shirt from like overspray. So this is just washi tape. It's just leftovers I've had forever. And I didn't mind it getting ruined. And I just made an area like that to cover on my shirt. And then you can also put like pieces of paper if you need to cover the rest. This did save on stencil material, but honestly, I don't know that it was worth it. I think you should just use more stencil material and it will be easier to move and you'll just be in better shape. So this is the one I used on this shirt. It's one of the shirts I colored on. I, believe it or not, this is just like regular craft paint. So I just used this paint. I grabbed these little daubers and just stuck it in paint. And then I got a little lighter towards the center and then got the blue and did the same thing there. So the stencil is going around, we just stenciled inside. That's how we did that shirt. Let me bring another one over for you. Same technique, just a different stencil, obviously. But this, again, is just craft paint. So fabric paint probably is recommended, but I mean, if you're just, this is terrible to me to say, if you're just crafting with kids, then use whatever you've got, because it won't wash out. Like it's still on there. The difference is it's a little stiffer. So anyway, we use just some regular craft paint and that'll work as well. I want to show you one. I tried these little spray paints for the first time. I don't know if you guys have seen these. It's Color Shot. It's like fabric spray paint, you guys. And we tried it out. I have a son. I don't know how we got talking about this, but he was saying something. Oh, we were talking like, what's something you've been curious to do that like, you shouldn't do, but you've always wanted to do? He's 9 and he was like, I've always wanted to spray paint the side of a building. And I was like, well, maybe don't do that. But I saw this spray paint at the store for a t-shirt and I was like, that will be so fun to use. So we did it. Now, let me tell you, the first one I did, it said to do light coats. And I was like, oh, I'm a crafter. I've got this under control. I know what I'm doing. But you guys, you might want to listen. Like if it says light coats, that's for a reason, because it will run underneath the stencil. So just a heads up about that. But let me open it up. We tried this spray paint because I thought it'd be fun to get like that fade out. And plus it's just like a fun product to use. Who doesn't want to spray paint something? So be aware that you should follow the directions and not do too much on it. Also, this has been washed and like none of the color faded or anything. So I thought that's a fun one. This was also done with spray paint after, because clearly I learned my lesson and I was like, hey, maybe we don't spray it as heavy. So this stencil, I have my stencil that I cut on my silhouette and I just placed it on here. Obviously it was a different one because this one is all white. It was this one, here we go. I placed it on here, did my spray painting, and then when it was dry, I peeled it off and we've got that. I also coated a little bit of like glitter through the center one, but I just did it really light. So it is kind of hard to see on that one. Let me show you another way that you can use it. This was another star. And for this one, we use these spray paints right here. And so this can spray paint that I showed you before, it feels like spray paint. Like on the shirt, it's pretty stiff. It feels like regular paint. This one is more like a fabric dye. And so it kind of bleeds a little more. It also feels stiff after. It might just be because of this glitter we sprayed on it. My daughter did this one last night. So I thought that was pretty fun. What I love about the stencils is you set it on and then you can let your kids be creative, but it doesn't look like they've like rolled around in mud. You know, sometimes they just keep using colors and you're like, oh, all the colors mixed together are brown, but good job. So this one, you put the stencil on and they can go crazy, spraying and squirting it everywhere. And then you peel the stencil off and it's such a cute shirt. My daughter was thrilled when she saw it this morning. Okay, let's go ahead and make one, should we? Yes, that's why we're here, right? Okay, which one should I do? This one I will show you real quick. This is vinyl. So you know how I was showing you how to use the vinyl feeder? This is just vinyl and you just iron it on your shirt. There's instructions on the box. I just use my iron. You can go right on the plastic, but I always put a piece of parchment paper over in between the iron. I don't know why, just nervous. But you can iron right on the plastic. And my kids, I didn't show them I made this late last night because I was getting ready. I thought, hey, I need to have a shirt on, right, while I'm doing it. And they thought it was the greatest thing in the world that I had actually made a shirt because we made 500 that they have done. So make sure it's not just your kids crafting, but you're making one for yourself too, because they will love that. After you've met all their needs, of course, right? Okay, let's put in, I just have scrap chipboard. You can use cardboard. We're going to stick it right in between the two layers of the shirt. Somebody is watching thinking, I know an easier way to do that, to get that cardboard in your shirt. We just don't shove cardboard in our shirts very often at our house. So there we go. Now we're going to lay that flat. Okay. And which stencil should we do? Let's do, we've got a USA one. This is what they look like before you've gummed them up with everything. So we'll go ahead and peel this off. So I am just going to, oh, I missed weeding. Now remember, these are sticky and you can use them on a couple shirts. So I also think this is a great way, if you don't have stuff to screen print, but you want to kind of do like the screen print look, I think this is a great way because you can use it on a bunch of shirts and the paint is going directly onto the shirt and you get a nice crisp design. Okay. We'll see how close to the middle this is. So I'm just going to set this on. Now with stencil material, if you've got things that are really detailed, I think you're best using the heat transfer, because you'll see like I still have to place this star in there. I have to eyeball that. So if you have a busy design, I would go with heat transfer or real screen printing. But if you have something simple like this or a star, then it's great for the stencil. Multiple kids can use it, or you can have a couple going if you've got a big group. And then at the end, they look somewhat uniform, that they're all a big star, but inside each one of them, you can see each child's personality through the way that they created their art. Okay, so we've got that on there. And then for this one, I'm not going to be spray painting in Silhouette Studio. So take a big deep breath about that. We're going to just be painting. Let me grab my scrap paper plate. This is from Silhouette. That's really cute. I don't know that I'd be using such cute plates for my scrap paint, but we're gonna do it. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this red paint on here. It's kind of got a little bit of a pink undertone to it. I think this is it's a cute red. Okay, so I've got my little dauber here. And we're just gonna kind of make sure that we get it on all of the spots, okay? And if you get a ton like this, it's gonna be really goopy. But if your kid dives in and does just one, you can get off the excess like this. Maybe I should have brought a kid in here to do this with me. And you guys could have seen how uncool I am under pressure as they're diving into the paints. Okay, we're just gonna kind of splat around it. And I think this could be so cute. Now that I've started, I'm like, oh, maybe I should have tried. It would be cute if they were like polka dots blended. Maybe we can do another one right after. I know, I'm trying to explain and dab this. Yeah.
Somebody asked, do you dilute the paint or use it straight from the bottle?
I just used it straight from the bottle. You could dilute it, mainly because the runnier something is, the messier it's going to be with my kids. So, and it's easier to just leave it like this. Okay, I think it could be cute if you did like some red polka dots and light blue and navy blue polka dots. Wouldn't that be so cute on here? But I've already covered it all in red. Okay, so we're gonna do, and I'm gonna kind of blend this out so we don't have like such hard lines. I'm fine with some. But just gonna soften that edge a little bit and maybe make it not look so square right there. We're gonna round out this design a little bit. Okay. Yes, this is one of our favorite family traditions. Like I said, we get together with my sisters and my side of the family, and we have a barbecue and we watch a movie, and all the kids paint shirts. We have a big family sleepover, and then in the morning, we have the pajama plunge, which is something my mom started that, like, my kids said they think they might love it more than Christmas morning. I was like, oh, let me tell you what the pajama plunge is. They all wake up in their t-shirts that they made the night before, which are their pajamas, and they all just jump in the pool in their pajamas, and they think it is like the greatest thing in the world. So paint like this, we've done spray paint on shirts, we've done like the reverse bleach tie-dye. All of those withstand swimming in a pool. So there you go. That's the ultimate test, right? We're gonna let this one dry for just a little bit, and I'm gonna do one more. And then we're going to pull off the stencil. I just don't want to pull it off while it's too wet, because then I'm afraid I might touch the rest of the shirt with my painted fingers, and then we've got a problem. So I'm going to set it right here and hope that I don't back into it. Let's do one more shirt. Should we do a blue one? That could be fun, huh? And yes.
So someone asked, what is the brand of this paint?
This one is Craft Smart. I always see it. I mean, I'm sure it's in Michael's craft aisle, but I also see it up by the register. So they usually have that. These were up by the register too. I also saw this week, they have like all their tie-dye stuff is on a huge sale at Michael's. So I'm thinking it's in all stores because I saw it on the website. Not sure. Check before you go, but yeah, make some t-shirts this weekend because all the good stuff's on sale. So we actually did tie-dye t-shirts, and then you can iron on, well, you could do stencil too, but then you could iron this on. So you have, I should have brought a tie-dye shirt. We just did them 2 days ago. Remember I said my hand, I don't know if I told you guys, my hands were a mess. We tie-dyed, and I was so careful during tie-dyeing. And then when I was rinsing out the shirts, I didn't have gloves on. So being careful throughout the whole tie-dye process was like useless, because then I had my hands in the dye wringing them out. So I was worried they were all going to be tie-dyed for this, but it all worked out. Anyway, these would be cute on a tie-dyed shirt where you have lots of color in the back, and then you can just use your heat transfer and iron on a design. You could also do a stencil, would be fun too, and do white or black. Let's go ahead, and I was only going to paint one shirt, so I only brought the one cardboard, but I've got a couple pieces of paper under here. We're just going to make that work too. Do you guys feel like that's the story of your crafting lives? You're always like, I feel like it's a lot of problem solving. Are you guys with me? Where you're like, oh, well, that didn't work. We'll try that. Or shoot, we love that so much. I've now run out of it. So let's see what else we got in this house that we can use. Should we do a star? Let's do a star. We're going to do this star that has been well loved. Is this a terrible idea? Might be. Might be a real terrible idea. We'll find out. Okay. Look at it trying to come apart. Oops. Okay. We're going to set this on here. Which way did I have it going? I guess it doesn't matter because it's a star, huh? The points can go any direction. Okay. Look at that. It's pressing down nicely. You know what? I think I have another little star. Maybe I'll see if we can put one of those in the middle and make this one look a little bit different. Because when you have a silhouette, you can customize your designs to look any way you want. So let me show you what I've got going so far. I have the big outer stencil, and then I've just got a mini one inside. I think that's going to look kind of cool. Okay, let's try some white. Should we do white? Nobody's yelling, no, are you? I always do this too. I take off my lids. Do you guys do that? What is wrong with me? It's much less messy if you leave them on. That's why they give you a lid with a hole in it, but whatever. Okay, here we go. We're going to paint this one. This one, because we have the stencil material on the outside, we're going to have a nice crisp line. And like I was saying, the reason I love the silhouette so much is you can customize everything. So you could do make a stencil, a giant stencil with like stars cut out in a pattern, and just run that across your whole shirt and just cover it in stars, similar to like a polka dot pattern. You can do this. You can put a star on the sleeve, just whatever you want. It's your shirt. Okay, we're going nuts. Does anybody have any questions I can answer while I'm painting? And I would be happy to do it. Why don't you guys share? Does anybody have any fun 4th of July traditions that you guys do? McKenna's gonna read them out to me if you guys send them in. But you can see I'm just going right along this edge, making sure I get all of it. Oh, this corner is a little faint, so I'm gonna make sure I get right in that corner. I'm trying not to get the paint too heavy along the edges because it can seep underneath the stencil. Like if you've got a big old glob of paint, then it runs the risk of kind of soaking up the fabric and bleeding underneath.
Amy, we have a question.
Yes.
So it's actually from Kelly Waymont.
Oh,
And
hi,
she
Kelly.
said, can you describe how you do the multicolor look like in the examples?
Yes, I would love to, Kelly. I probably should have done that on this one. So with the multi, you know what? I think I have another shirt. Do I? Yeah, should we do a multi one? Let's do it next. Yes, Kelly, I'm going to show you. Okay, I'm going to move this. How about that for answering a question? Let me just whip that up real quick. I have one more shirt, I think. I don't. Oh yeah, it's right here.
They do a berry dessert with strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. Lots of whipped cream.
Please invite me to your 4th of July. That sounds amazing. Oh, yum. And like, how beautiful. I bet that's Pinterest worthy food right there. So pretty. Okay. Okay, Kelly, it's coming right up. I am assuming you are talking about not so much this one because I'm not going to spray the spray paint in here, but these we can definitely do. So let's see what stencil. We've used that one. Should we do this USA? Oh, how about we do, yeah. Let's do this USA that we've done before. Okay. This is the one I did on the mannequin. And I can show you that in just a minute. But after, so they have, you can use like a fabric spray, but I also tried just sprinkling fine glitter on the paint after it dried, and it kind of worked. So get creative, use what you've got. Okay, let's maybe try to fade. Oh, I have one more dauber. We could do red, white, and blue. So lucky day today. Okay, we're gonna start with red. I've made a huge mess of this plate. So I'm going to start with white because I feel like if that picks up any color, then we're gonna be in a mess. So we're gonna do our white first. I'm gonna do our white in the middle. I think we're doing okay on time. We probably have time for this last one. And then I'll let you guys go and you can just get crafting. Okay, so wait, was I gonna blend from top to bottom? I was gonna try to blend in this way, but maybe it's best if we go all the way across. What do you guys think? Maybe we'll just blend from red to white, from white to red. Okay, I'm gonna start with white. And I'm just gonna be a little heavier at the top and then just light. You can always go over it again if you need to. So I try to be real light with my lighter one because I can always add, but it's not so easy to take it away, right? Okay. Yeah, I was gonna try to do red, white, and blue, but I think that blending goodness. Good thing I got the extra dauber. I just dropped my red one and all the white paint. Oh, goodness. It's just how it goes, though, huh? And that's what makes it fun. Okay. So we're going to just kind of blend this a little bit. I've got my brush kind of dry. By the time I'm getting down to this middle spot, I want my brush pretty dry. I don't want as much paint on it. You'll also see I didn't add the middle star to this one, but I don't care. I think it looks cute like this. So if it's important to you, you can place that star in there. If you're like, yeah, I like the more graphic look, then do that. It's your shirt. You can do whatever you want. That is one of the reasons I love crafting so much, is because I feel like there really isn't just one way to do something. Even like when I was showing you guys how I cut things on the silhouette, somebody might have a different way of grouping them or the way they like to work. So I just love that there's so many different ways to create. I think this is also really great. I don't know if you've picked up on this, but I love to craft with my kids. Has that become apparent through this whole class? And I love just seeing their creativity, and mostly we do focus a lot on just the process of it and not so much the outcome, because they are still kind of little and figuring out all these different mediums and different ways to craft. So I've got kids that are, how old are my kids? This will tell you what kind of mother I am, right? Do I know how old they are? I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old and then 2 9-year-olds. And we spend a lot of time creating, because like I said, I think it's a great way to learn problem solving. The other day when we were tie-dyeing, we used all the blue before it got to my one son, and we were doing red, white, and blue. And instead of freaking out about it, because we craft often and we run into things like this a lot, he was just like, well, just rolled with the punches, and he figured something else out. And it turned out really great. Okay. Now I might wait until this red dries and then go back over a little bit with just my white, just to kind of blend that a little more. Because you can see it looks a little bit harsh right now, but I don't want to go over it right now with my white, because I'm going to pick up that red and then I'm going to be mixing pink up here. So I think I would rather I'm going to have it dry, and then we'll mix some more of that in. But that's just how I did it. I just had my brush a little bit drier through the center, and then you get that look. Okay, let's peel off the vinyl, the stencil, not vinyl, from the other shirts. We're gonna leave that there. This is also how I craft. What can I lay all this stuff on? Oh, you guys, let's see. What one did I do first? I think this red one. So we are just gonna lift that up. And I probably should have brought some baby wipes for my hands, but oh well. Okay, here we go. Look at that. Is that so fun? Oh my goodness, I love this. Okay, and because my stencil is a little wet, I'm trying to make sure that as I'm ripping it off, that I'm not letting it touch back down somewhere else. Okay. See, do I have a dry part of my hand I can show you that? There we go. There's our USA shirt. I love that. Look how crisp the lines are. Okay, we're gonna set this over here and hope that I remember it's that it's wet and I don't touch it. Okay, let's move this one off back in its spot. Oops. We're going to, I'm caught in all my cords. You guys might get a bigger show than you thought when I go down. Okay, here's this next one. Got a big star. Remember, this is the one that we cut another star to go inside. So you do not have to do the design you buy in the store. You guys can customize and create to get your own look. Oh, here we go. Couldn't grab that. Do I have any clean fingers? Oh, sorry. Here's our next one. Look how clean those lines are. Okay. Let's do, this last one hasn't really had hardly any time to dry. But I'm going to lift it off anyway. And actually, I might just do my reds up higher to make it blend. Said I was going to do my whites lower, but maybe we'll just bring our reds higher. Okay, let's peel it off. So this has only been drying maybe like a minute or two. And there's that one. Isn't that so fun? All right, that is it. Now I've given you a bunch of ideas. I hope I have also encouraged you to craft with your family, with your friends, make some fun 4th of July t-shirts or Halloween. Like, we're quickly approaching on our big holidays season where you have Halloween and Christmas coming up. All of these would be so fun for any holiday. And have a wonderful 4th of July. Thank you, guys.